seconds.
Houston, are you ready for the Station, I'm ready for the event. Houston Station, I am ready for the event.
Station, this is the World Scout Jamboree. How do you copy?
Please call Station 4 for check.
Hello, Drew. How do you hear us?
I've got you loud and clear.
We've got you loud and clear also, Drew. Welcome to the Summit Bechtel Reserve here in West Virginia. There are over 40,000 scouts here from more than 140 different countries. This event promotes peace and mutual understanding, develops our youth with life skills and leadership, and offers them a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. So we've got a whole room full of excited scouts, and we're going to start with our questions.
Hi, my name is Supreet. I'm from India. Here's my question. What is the next major goal we should be chasing? When and how do you think we'll achieve it?
Well, first of all, I wanted to just welcome you all on board the International Space Station. It is my honor to be joining you there at Bechtel Summit Reserve for the World Scout Jamboree. And I believe that the question was about where should we be headed next, what's next? And, you know, the International Space Station is a small part of the big grand plan for us to put humans on Mars in several decades from now. And our immediate goal here in the next couple of years will be to return humans back to the surface of the moon by 2024. The International Space Station's been in orbit now for 2 decades, with humans on board, over 2 decades. And I'm just a part of that. I was able to join the crew here on the International Space Station just a couple of days ago. I just got here this past weekend, so I'm a new resident and new crew member on board the International Space Station.
Hi, I'm Ollie and I'm from the United Kingdom, and this is my question. Has your understanding of the universe or Earth changed since going into space?
Well, I'd say it has. You know, now that I've spent a couple days up here, I've been able to spend a fair amount of time looking out the window and looking down at the Earth. Even when I was in the capsule and Soyuz vehicle on my way up here, I was able to look out of the window and get a perspective of just how thin our atmosphere is and how huge our planet seems. But then when you look and see the vastness of space, you see that we are just a small, relatively insignificant part of the entire universe. We have this beautiful vantage point on the International Space Station that we like to share with everybody back there on Earth.
My name is Theo, I'm coming from Denmark. But can you go in space and what are the limitations?
Our limitations in right now, you know, if you look at what we've accomplished in our space program, we just recently have celebrated just this past weekend the landing, the Apollo 11 moon landing 50 years ago. So we put humans on the surface of the moon, and we put humans now continuously in low Earth orbit for the last 20 years. And so far, right now, those are our accomplishments in space, and those are significant. But we want to do more. We want to go further. We want to get out there and explore our solar system in an even greater degree. And so there are a number of limitations that are going to prevent, are going to present challenges as we head towards Mars, and some of those are medical and physiological. What can the human body withstand in terms of radiation and spending long periods of time in microgravity? those are things that we can study here on the International Space Station to help us enable those.
Hi, my name is Nikolai Mohammed. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and my question is, what activities do you do to pass time? And is it true you're going to keep getting scouting magazines while in space?
Well, we do have opportunities for entertainment up here because, you know, most of us are up here for several months. I'll be up here for close to 8 or 9 months on board the International Space Station. So having things to read and watch and pass the time are important. There are movies we can watch television shows. They can be uploaded to us. We can also get magazines. Obviously, we can't get mails if we don't put them in print. And we can get magazines in electronic format, and so still keep up on current events either by watching television or receiving periodicals. And to answer the question, I would be keeping up with scouting news.
Hi, my name is Jasmijn from the Netherlands, and my question is, what do you and NASA hope to achieve from this mission?
Well, there are a number of things that are unique about this period of time while we're on board. We do believe that we will see the first U.S. vehicles launched from the U.S. Return to the International Space Station for a number of years since the space shuttle retired. And that's because the more different methods that we have of getting astronauts onto the International Space Station is better for the program. For the last couple of years, we've been launching American and international partners astronauts on Soyuz, the Russian space vehicle, an extremely reliable, great vehicle. But by having U.S. vehicles launched from Florida, again, we'll have other means of getting astronauts to the International Space Station. We also have a lot of spacewalks planned, a lot of repairs and things to the exterior space stations. We have a number of those. And then, of course, we have all kinds of new science coming on board every time we have a vehicle, come up, bringing our science experiments. And we have those ongoing right now. Right now, my mates around me are all conducting scientific experiments in different modules. And the more science that we do, the more we can start to solve those problems. I mentioned that challenges that are going to enable to go further into the universe, past the moon, and on to Mars.
Hi, my name's Alvin, and I'm from Georgia. Here's my question. What are some of the research experiments on the International Space Station, and how are they different from research on Earth?
That's a great question. We have lots of different types of scientific experiments going on the International Space Station. They are in the realm of biology, math, science, physical sciences, earth and space sciences. We do technology demonstrations. We do a lot of educational outreach as well. Some of those require astronaut interaction, and some of them are external payload or instruments that are mounted to the exterior space station. But one of the great things that the International Space Station allows us to do is science out that incredible gravity. Anytime we do an experiment, we want to control where we can, but we can eliminate gravity as one of them. That allows us to study scientific in a pure form by eliminating gravity as a factor and seeing what the results would be different.
Hello, my name is Lovisa, and I am from Sweden. And my question is, what are some of your daily tasks on the space station?
Well, our day has every moment scheduled out for it. It starts with waking up and doing personal hygiene like you would expect at home. We have to tea, we have to clean our bodies, go to the bath, eat breakfast. Then we get through our day performing maintenance tasks, performing our scientific experiments, as I was describing earlier. And we have breaks to take lunch. We have eat meals. The day is full. The day is very full. And then at the end of the day, we have opportunity to rest. We can go home and we can And if we feel like watching a television show, just interacting with our crewmates, it fills the entire day out quite a bit. So it is a busy time.
Hey, I'm Annabelle from Australia. And do you think scouting will give us an advantage in becoming some of the next people to make history in space?
Well, I think the scouting movement all over the world is important because it teaches you what I believe is one of the most valuable things you can take in life, which is a sense of service. A sense of service to something bigger than yourselves, making you of the planet. And that is a principle of scouting around the world, which is why it's so important that you all are gathered there to celebrate this common bond that you have.
Hi, I'm Megan from South Africa, and my question is, can you tell us how you went from being an army doctor to an astronaut?
Well, I would say that, again, I referenced service just a moment ago, and service to my service started out as service to my country in the military, and service to my patients as a physician, specifically a physician to members of the armed forces. And my time as an astronaut is a continuation of that service. And so, in many ways, that is the most direct way that I make that connection. But, you know, it is, the medical background is a highly useful skill as an astronaut. A number of the experiments that we conduct on board the International Space Station are medical or biological in nature, and I will be able to apply that background quite a bit. And of course, it's nice in the event of a medical emergency if one of the astronauts has some medical skills, but we have more than enough capability up here that we don't require a doctor at all times.
Hello, I'm Gabriel from Brazil, and my question is, as an assistant scoutmaster, are you still planning to join troop meetings from space?
So I should add that my service in scouting has been primarily as an adult leader, as an assistant scoutmaster. I was a Cub Scout as a young child, but I never progressed all the way to as a Boy Scout. And now I've spent a number of years as an assistant scoutmaster. My oldest of my 4 children, my son, is an Eagle Scout recently, and just before I left on my left to come for my launch a couple of weeks ago, and he remains involved in scouting. And then one of my 3 daughters is also getting ready to join scouting, and we're going to work through that when I get back from my mission, because I want to get her involved too, because it's been such a positive experience so far for my son, and I'd like all my daughters to have that opportunity as well. And I do plan on staying connected with my scout troop back home, Troop 452 in Friendswood, Texas.
Hello, my name is Monica and I'm from Slovakia. My question is, we all know astronauts spend tons of time training, but has anything happened that you weren't prepared for? If so, how did you handle it?
Well, I think I would start by answering that question by saying the training that we receive is so excellent, and thus far my mission, I feel like I've been fully trained for everything that I have encountered. However, we are also trained to be very flexible and be able to be good problem solvers, so that when something does arise that we don't expect, and inevitably in my time on board the International Space Station, there'll be things that we didn't expect to occur, but we know how to improvise, we know how to work well as a team, and we know how to solve problems, complex problems, and we have an enormous team on the ground to help us. So we always have somebody that we can call and ask for help.
Hello, my name is Eve, I'm from Finland, and here's my question. Is there Wi-Fi in space? How do you communicate with family and friends?
I didn't hear the entire question, but I think what you were asking was how I'll stay connected with family and friends on the ground, and that's a very important part of the psychological health of an astronaut while we're on board the International Space Station for such a long time. You know, believe it or not, it's a lot of the things that you would use to stay connected if you were on a trip for a long period of time. We have email capability. I have the ability to use a special phone to call, bounced off satellite, but I'm able to call home. We even have access to the internet, so there are things that are available where we could connect to social media. And on, every couple of weeks or so, we can have a video teleconference with their families as well. So it helps to be able to see their faces and just stay connected that way. But staying connected with your family is really important for our time, considering how long it is. Life goes on. We'll be gone almost an entire school year for my children's school outcome. And I want to stay involved. Having all these ways to do that will help me stay connected.
Hi, my name is Aaron. I'm from Aruba. What's the coolest thing you've seen in space?
I didn't hear your question entirely. If you wouldn't mind asking that one more time.
What's the coolest thing you've seen in space?
Drew, what is the coolest thing that you've seen in space?
Copy. The coolest thing I've seen in space. Well, I don't know. I feel like I should show you guys a couple cool things. Well, the first time I saw my friends on their side and doing backflips, I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm hoping that you guys do too.
Hello, my name is Jack. I'm from the United States. My question is, what kind of dangers can happen during a spacewalk, and how do you deal with something like that?
Dangers during spacewalks. Yeah, spacewalks are dangerous. They're inherently very dangerous because we're basically going out in a small spaceship outside of the International Space Station in a small pressurized suit. And certainly, there are a lot of components on that can fail. And but you know, we use some very hardy equipment, but we need the capability to provide oxygen and pressurization to the suit at all times, carbon dioxide, and if any of those elements were to fail, that would be a problem. But sort of like I alluded to before, we have a big team on the ground that's getting information about the suit constantly, and we're able to communicate with them, and we have checklists that we've worked through, and so if we see failure, the suit gives us an alarm, and we work through the checklist, and the ground helps us work through it, and we get safely back inside the airlock if it requires us to.
Hi, my name is Johanka and I'm from the Czech Republic. Is the water you drink recycled or does it come from water supplies?
Good question. We do both. We try to recover water. We condense the moisture in the air. We actually even recycle our urine, wastewater that collected, and return it back to drinking water. But we also, when we have vehicles come back up, we do have water supply brought to us as well, because we're not able to reclaim it all 100%, but much of it we are. So we get it by both methods.
So Drew, this is Greg here. We'd like to thank you and NASA for helping us to expand the reach of this global event here at the World Scout Jamboree by connecting the ISS to these youth on our planet. So thank you so much.
And Greg, thank you. It's been my pleasure. I just wanted to show off our flag here that was set up. My honor to do so.
Thank you so much.